Welcome to Youth Ministry Open House. This is not at all what I was hoping or thought it would be. We were supposed to be outside, under the trees, all set up. You were going to be walking through, getting to see everybody. It was going to be, just different. But that's the thing. This year especially, we have to be flexible and be able to change. And so tonight, we're making a change. Because the weather is unpredictable right now, and we didn't want to risk putting all of our speakers and sound equipment and electronics outside in case it rained, this is the next best thing. So if you're watching this, you have probably already gone through our drive-thru. You've gotten to meet and see our small group leaders, and we are so excited for youth this year. You got a free t-shirt? You got a sticker? There are gaiters coming too. We have these new gaiters that are going to have our theme, Fear Less, on them. They look so awesome. I can't wait till they're done and you get one. It is not a normal year. We all know this. And we could go on about how things have caused us to change and how things are so difficult. But you know what? Over the last couple weeks, God has gotten me so excited about youth. And it's not going to be youth like we normally do it. Okay, normally, here at FBC, every Wednesday night we do worship at the well. We're all here in the youth room, all gathered together, play crazy games. We'll do that some. And we usually do 516 groups at the end, and we tie it all in together. And then we also meet on Sunday mornings. Well, this year, as of right now, some of that's changing. What we're going to be doing is the first Wednesday of every month is worship at the well. So right here in this room, we'll all be together. We'll play crazy games, socially distancing, of course. We'll sing. We will worship together. We'll still have our message and that kind of thing. But that'll just be the first Wednesday. After that, every other Wednesday, we're going to do our 516 groups in host homes, meeting throughout San Marcos. Now, some of you are probably a little disappointed. Wait, that means I don't get to be in the big group every week. You're right, it doesn't. But that means we get to spend even more time in our small groups. And guys, I couldn't be more excited because I really believe that if we get back to the heart of what small groups is, if we get back to the heart of caring for each other, loving each other, studying the Word together, and challenging and encouraging each other, our small groups are going to explode. They're going to grow, and our youth ministry is going to get bigger, not because we want more numbers, but because we want people to know who Jesus is. And I believe if we really fall in love with small groups, and you commit and say, I'm there every week because I care about my group, I care about those in my group. When you invite a friend and say, hey, will you come with me to a house, eat some snacks, maybe play a game, and do a Bible study, that might be a little bit easier for people to do instead of saying, hey, will you come to my church on Wednesday? Right? Like it just rings differently. And so I'm excited, and I think you're going to be able to bring even more friends to this, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to grow closer together as a group, but also to bring new people into this ministry. And that, like I said, God's just gotten me real excited about it, and I've been praying about it, and I couldn't be more excited. On top of all of that, our theme this year is Fear Less. I don't have a gaiter with me. They're working on printing those up. As you can see, we got the shirts, and each one of you got one of these. And this is our youth logo. I'm so excited about these. The gaiters, the face masks, they're going to have the Fear Less logo. You probably see it right here, maybe. It's like right there, I think. I don't know. I'm just, making motions, and we'll see. Anyway, but that logo is going to be on the face mask, and you can wear it around, and people will probably ask you, what does that mean? And you can tell them that in 2020, I'm going to fear less because I know God is still king. Because that's the truth. God is still king. He's still in control. I want the heart of that theme comes from 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 1, starting in verse 3, Paul is in prison. Okay? We have to remember that. When he writes this, Paul is in prison. He knows that the end is coming. Like his time on earth is coming to a close. He's about to leave, die, go to heaven, and be gone. And he's writing to Timothy because he wants Timothy to be encouraged. Timothy has kind of been the person that he took under his wing, and he cared for him, and he ministered alongside him. And then now Timothy is the minister, like he's the guy. And so Paul is writing, Timothy, I thank God for you, the God I serve with a clear conscience, just as my ancestors did. Night and day, I constantly remember you in my prayers. I long to see you again, for I remember your tears as we parted, and I will be filled with joy when we are together again. I remember your genuine faith, for you share the faith that first filled your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice. And I know that same faith continues strong in you. This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. So never be ashamed to tell others about our Lord, and don't be ashamed of me either, even though I'm in prison for him. With the strength God gives you, be ready to suffer with me for the sake of the good news. For God saved us and called us to live a holy life. He did this not because we deserved it, but because that was his plan from the beginning of time to show us his grace through Christ Jesus. This emotional appeal that Paul is writing to Timothy is because they spent time together. And this reminds me of what I hope our small groups grow into, our 516 groups, where we get to share our burdens and we get to walk alongside each other and we care for one another in such a way that we love each other like this. That we've invested everything we can and we encourage each other. But then the part of the verses that really stick out for me for the theme for this year is in verse 6 and 7. This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity. I can't say that word. Timidity. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, but of power, love, and self-discipline. We need to fan into the flame that gift that God gives us. Every one of you has a gift. God has equipped every single one of you to go out and serve and love and care for people in a very unique and special way. Every one of you has a gift. I know some of you are like, well, I'm not special. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying God has given you, he's designed you, created you in a very specific way so that you can do the purpose, live the purpose that God has for you. That's what a spiritual gift is. Some of us are teachers. Some of us are encouragers. Some of us care deeply about people. Some of us serve. Some of us just go out and do things, right? That is what he's talking about here. And it's important right now, in this time when there are so many unknowns, so many questions, it is important for us to fan that flame. And that requires you to fan the flame for someone else as well, right? Because you get to be the one that encourages and challenges the other person to rise up and do the things God has called them to do. And this is why we do it. Because God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. Right? To be reminded that in this time, when so many people are afraid, that we should fear less because God is still in control. And then he's given us a spirit of power. I mean, think about the power of God. Creation. God spoke words. And when he spoke words, creation happened. Let there be light. Boom. Let there be darkness. Boom. Let there be land. Let there be water. Let there be stars. Let there be sky. Let there be animals. Let there be plants. As he spoke those words, he spoke things into existence. That is power. And then if we talk about power of people, there are people that were able to heal others. There were people that were able to overcome things in their life that they never thought they could do on their own. The power of God is inside of us. God gave us that kind of spirit of power, of love. A kind of love that it doesn't want something out of it. We aren't doing it to get something out of it, but a kind of love that is sacrificial, like the sacrifice that Christ gave when he died for us. Christ did nothing wrong. He came and he loved and he served and he showed us how to live life. And his reward was that people turned their backs on him and they killed him on a cross. But in his death, because of that sacrifice, it took the punishment away from us. and so he conquers sin. And then he raised from the dead, and he conquers death, and he gives us hope. So power and love. And then this last one, we talk about those a lot, right? We talk about the power of God and how it can change us. And we talk about love and how we're supposed to love each other. The one thing we don't talk a lot about is self-discipline. But this is a part that Paul includes here, that God gives us a spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. That when we really rely on God's power, and we really love the people around us and love and care for each other, there's this thing, this self-discipline that causes us, that helps us, that spurs us on to live a holy life. He goes on to talk about that they were called, Paul and Timothy were called to live a holy life. Holy is to be set apart, to be different. That's why self-discipline is so critical. It's not the kind of self-discipline where it's like, I'm going to do this on my own. No, it's a self-discipline that's kind of like put into us. I know the definition, it gets a little hazy here, right? Self-discipline literally means being able to be disciplined on my own. But the self-discipline that I think of is the one that's given to us by God, that is through the power and love of God. And it is that self-discipline that allows us to walk in holiness, to walk differently than the world around us. And that's so important today. If we look at the world and we look at our circumstance and we are exactly the same as everyone else, and the good news of the gospel and the Bible and what God calls us doesn't change us, it doesn't require of anything of us, and it doesn't cause us to be different, then what are we doing? And why would anybody else want to follow after Jesus? The truth is that Jesus changes everything. He changes everything in our life. And he gives us the best. He gives us everything that we could ever need. And he gives us a purpose. And that purpose is to love and worship him and to make his name known, so that others will come to love and worship him. This year, as we fear less, and as we declare that God is still king, I know, I have faith, I believe, God has showed me that we are going to see more and more students here in San Marcos come to know Jesus for the very first time. And I believe it's going to happen through our small groups, our 516 groups. It's in those moments when you can sit down and have conversations with each other about what does it mean to follow Jesus, that someone might say, you know what, I don't think I've ever really done that. I want to do that. And it's in those moments that when there's something going on in our life, there's a sin or some kind of struggle or obstacle where we wrestle with it with each other and we overcome it, we get to give glory and praise to God for what he's done in our life. I am excited about what it means for us as a youth group to fear less. I hope that you've been encouraged by this. I challenge you to take the time to go through and read 2 Timothy and see how Paul talks to Timothy and challenges him to be a leader. Each and every one of us, each and every one of you have the ability, have been gifted by God to be a leader within our church, within this community, and to be the witnesses for God wherever you go. And that's my hope for us this year. Like I said earlier, our system is going to change a little. So first Wednesday of the month is Worship at the Well. We're gonna make it big. We're gonna play crazy, awesome, fun games, as much social distance as we can. We're gonna have worship, live worship with students leading us. It's gonna be so good. But also, then we're gonna do 516 groups every other week. We're gonna dive into Scripture. We're gonna care for each other. We're gonna bring in our friends. And I really believe that God has something special planned for this year. I hope you were able to come through and drive through and meet each one of our small group leaders. Parents, if you watch this, thank you so much for watching. Know that I am praying for you. There is one ask I have for all the parents that might be watching, and that ask is this. If you are willing to be a host home for one of our 516 groups, please contact me and let me know. I need some host homes, and I need some backup host homes, because I believe, like I said, that these are going to grow. And every time we get to about 10 or 11 in a group, we're going to split it, and so we'll need a new host home. And so even if I don't need you to be a host home right now, I anticipate that I will need you very, very soon. And so if you are at all open to being a host home, and in that we will abide by your guidelines. As social distance as much as you need, wear masks, all of that kind of thing. But as comfortable as you are, if you are comfortable doing that, please let me know. Other than that, know that I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I miss you so much. And I hope that every one of you will start coming to 516 groups starting next week. I'm going to get information out through an email and through our Instagram and through our Remind. If you're not a part of all of those, if you're brand new to all of this, in the comments below, I'm going to try to add it. If I can't add all of those things, know that I will get this information to you. But all of those ways we communicate, I'm going to communicate where the small groups are going to be and what small group you'll be in, at least as we start. And then we're going to just run for it starting next week. It's going to be a great time. I hope you all join us. I love you so much. We'll see you soon. I feel like I just rambled, but